Episode 12.
Yes.
Wow, we're getting deeper in the double digits.
Yeah.
I like that.
Woo, keep moving forward.
Yes, always.
Yes.
Never stop.
Yeah.
Because we're always on a journey. We've never arrived. It's the worst kind of mindset.
Yeah. Welcome back in the park.
What's up, everybody? Good to see you again.
Sunny again. What a beautiful day.
Yep.
Every day. We got a bit of a gloomy, overcast
Yeah,
weather in the
yeah.
morning, but then it just opens up and it feels so nice.
It's so nice, dude, because I'm starting to run a little bit more in the mornings.
Yeah.
And I couldn't ask for better. If it's a little gloomy, heck, if there's even fog or drizzle, it's like really nice too.
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, so enjoy all of it.
Yeah. So what do we have today?
So we'll do a little bit of discussion on, health and fitness and, a little dieting tip that I have. What I've kind of been drinking a lot is peppermint tea.
Oh, okay.
And for one, it's delicious and it makes your breath smell great.
Yeah.
And also it is an appetite suppressant.
Okay. I had no idea about that.
Yeah. So I looked that up a bit. And so on that similar kind of kick, I wanted to discuss with you how important, just tracking or being mindful of how many calories you take in every day, how important that is. Yeah. And since everybody is kind of different, all of our bodies are rather different, I wanted to discuss the difference between endo, ecto, and the rare one, the mesomorph.
Yeah.
The morphs.
Yeah. This is not a very common topic. Not a lot of people talk about this.
Right.
And that has actually very huge importance in terms of knowing your body.
Absolutely. It's really important.
What to eat, the way your body's going to respond to any kind of activity you do.
Yeah.
Or what you eat. So.
Right. And
awesome.
Everyone's different too.
Great topic, man. Love it.
And what do you got for us today?
So after we're going to dive deep into some self-development, but on psyche.
Oh, the psychic side. Yeah.
And that's going to be for anyone who kind of want to evolve through life.
Cool.
So it's a little bit of a deep conversation, but yeah, after the diet part, we're going to dive into that. I think it's going to link into it very, very nicely.
Right.
So yeah, let's just get started, and then. But how you doing today, Mike?
That's wonderful, dude. I'm doing great, man. I feel good. So at this point right now on my fitness journey, I feel pretty much nice in the middle, in a good place.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, for myself, I felt a little bit like doughy. Just muscle was still kind of there, but my fat percentage was like close to 20. It was like 19.5%.
Wow.
So I'm thinking,
when was that?
So this was even as recent as like middle to end of last week.
Okay.
So I was always kind of teetering on the edge of 19.4 to.
So you went up a little bit.
I went down body. Oh yeah.
You went down and then you.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
Since the big weight loss, so
this is your body adjusting.
It's always this kind of thing going
over time.
Yeah, exactly. So what's been helping a lot, what I kind of, am victim of sometimes is sudden spike of hunger, just like an absolute need to snack real quick or what have you. And that usually goes away kind of quickly. If I'm in the middle of something, obviously I can't, eat right away. So it's more like a feeling that kind of comes and goes. It's not actual hunger. So, for one, I've realized, and this is, everyone knows this, drinking enough water throughout the day is good. Yeah. Drink those, get the electrolytes in, if you wake up, I would say, and especially if you've worked out, of course, those are good electrolyte times. Make sure you're smashing in the water.
Yeah.
And then, for me, I looked up just like, what are things that just help you not be so darn hungry, all the time? And peppermint tea is good. And a while ago, I bought a variety of all different herbal teas, and I love peppermint tea because you can buy it in bulk for a whole pound, which is a massive amount, for like $18 on Amazon. It's like this bag that's like I'm not even kidding. It's like this big, this wide.
Yeah.
You know, because it's so light. A pound is a lot.
So I know it's dried, right?
Yeah, it's dried.
Does it say fresh long enough?
Yeah, you know, it's got the Ziploc top, so you know, yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
You know, yeah. So it's good though. It's tasty. It's delicious, and it actually kind of does a good job at not making you so hungry right away.
Okay.
You know, so it is something worth trying.
When do you take it? When would you take it? Like in the morning?
Yeah, I do. Whenever I'm home and I am chilling. So in the mornings is a good time for sure.
Yeah.
And I'll still eat a little bit. You know, I'll still have breakfast and stuff. But I've discovered that drinking a bit of, you know, 1 to 2 cups of peppermint tea or just even water definitely kind of makes you not overeat. After it definitely helps with that.
Yeah.
You know, you don't go too crazy pounding stuff down.
Yeah.
And it's good because you don't want to make yourself too heavy too early in the day.
Yes.
You know, you don't want to fill yourself up with such an enormous amount of food.
Yeah.
Which is why American breakfasts are so hilarious to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's eat 19 pancakes.
Yeah.
And a breakfast burrito.
So much carb.
It's all processed carbs and. You know,
combined with fat, which is so.
Yeah, it's like so bad. It's like the worst combo. It's an evil combo right there.
It kills your body.
And the thing about refined carbs is they don't fill you up. And the worst one of all is refined sugar.
Yeah.
You know, because it's nothing. It doesn't fill you up at all.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's of course, you know, like white flour and all that stuff. And, you know, it's delicious. Don't get me wrong, but. Doesn't fill you, man.
Yeah, that's why they made it so delicious for you to eat that.
Yeah.
So unhealthy thing.
Exactly. So. Yeah. And you know, as the comedian Jim Gaffigan once said, you know, you go to IHOP, you don't leave feeling like hopping. You can barely move.
Yeah.
I need a wheelbarrow to get out of here.
Yeah.
Help me.
So do you count your calories? You try that?
Yeah, lately I have been.
Okay.
And I definitely, it's always eye-opening in the beginning from when you don't count at all to when you start. Because like you go from like, wow, I'm like putting in well over 3,000 calories just eating a whole box of spaghetti or pasta, or just like a large amount of, you know, anything, oatmeal cereal. You know, oatmeal's healthy, but like a large amount is not good.
It's not, definitely not.
No. And it's still a lot of carbs as well.
So much,
yeah, so that's also something I've been very mindful of.
It's got a good ratio in terms of like protein, carbs for that kind of food.
Yeah.
The ratio, there's a lot of protein in there, but it's not, you cannot do too much.
Yeah, you still don't want to have a ridiculous amount of calories.
Yeah, it's a good carb that has protein. So it's still like carbohydrates.
It's still a carb.
But, yeah, it's like sweet potatoes, the same thing.
Right, you don't want to eat a huge amount of them. You really just need like one big one or maybe 1.5 small ones. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I've been pretty diligent about counting calories lately. And I don't use MyFitnessPal. I use another app that has a free barcode tracker. Let me just look up what the name is real quick. But I like the barcode. Oh, My Net Diary.
My Net?
My Net Diary. It's green with the green apple measuring tape going around it. I like it because it's, you know, everything's really easy to see on the dashboard, and you know, I love scanning barcodes and stuff. I just think there's a lot of apps where they charge you for that, and there is a premium plan on there that they promote frequently, but you never have to, you know, succumb to it.
Cool. My Net Diary.
Yeah. So I'm really into counting calories and stuff, and it has helped me a bit on just bringing the fat down a little bit. You know, if I can get close to 15 or below, you know, sometime middle of the summer, I'd be pretty happy with that. You know,
100%. Yeah.
Do you think that watching calories, being mindful, will bring the body fat percentage down?
I think so.
Okay, good.
And you know what? Not on a specifically like math level, I would say.
not so much the numbers.
Yeah, it's not much about the numbers. You bring something into your perceptions of yourself.
Right.
So how much you put inside, So it's more of a kind of a mental thing.
Yeah, you're aware.
Exactly. Becoming aware of it, I think that has a huge component on how you're gonna view yourself.
Right.
And that way your body will like adapt itself in a way, and you would take better decisions as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it matters.
Right.
I know some people are extremely bad at tracking calories.
Right.
Some other people are very good at it, just without knowing like exactly how much they consume. They have an idea of it.
Right. They know pretty much how much calories are in the foods that they regularly eat.
Yeah. So either one or the other is like you gotta be aware of that. If you're not good at it, just like you gotta track.
Yes, exactly.
And be a little picky about it.
Yeah.
Especially at first, to have the habit of doing this, but after at some point, you just can be like by sight.
Right, exactly.
Like you can measuring pretty much how much you're consuming just like that.
Absolutely. So yeah, exactly. Will I use this app all the time forever? Probably not, but I will. I'll definitely have a good ballpark idea.
Like how fast you want to get your results as well.
Exactly.
And how much? What's your end goal as physically?
Right.
And that's that too.
And a thing that's also helped me keep myself accountable is, I'm a minimalist and I love decluttering and stuff. I donated a lot of big, oversized shirts recently.
Yeah.
And I got my CEO polo shirt today. I'm very into True Classic, the brand. It's a very great brand. Yeah. So I donated all my large and extra large shirts, and these are a size small. All right. They're size small but tall, which is like precisely what I need. I don't want things that are too baggy, but I also don't want like shirts that if I raise my arms up, they don't. I don't show my midriff, show my belly. No. Yeah. So that was an amazing discovery for me right there. So and also it's like I want to make sure I fit in all these shirts that I got.
It reminds me of another brand. It's called Barbell Outfit.
Oh, cool!
I don't know if you've heard of that.
Barbell Outfit. Yeah, no, I gotta look it up.
It's dope. It looks similar. It's you can actually work out with it.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Like a polo working out.
Right. Yeah.
Or even like some kind of jeans and do like workout jeans.
Yeah. Like this is an active shirt, active polo shirt. Right. That's really cool. I love stuff like that because and also even if you don't like work out in them, it's just a lot more flexible, a lot more comfortable. It's got a little bit of that spandex in there, and it's just it's so nice. Yep. You can stretch around. Mm-hmm. So getting smaller clothing has helped me stay a little bit more accountable and just very aware, because I would hate to let everything slide and not fit into my clothes. It's like, oh dude, what am I doing? Yeah. So it's the little games you play with yourself like that. So it's fun. Mm-hmm. So yes, and on that, with being mindful of how many calories I consume, I'm definitely I would define myself as an endomorph. And I know that there's the 3 different kinds. There's endomorph, which is you can gain muscle relatively easy, but you can also gain fat and just be heavy really easy. Mm-hmm. And then on the opposite end of that is ectomorphs, where it's very easy to remain thin. You might have to consume a little bit more, but you'll never. It's hard to get fat as an ectomorph. Yeah. And then there's the rare unicorn, the mesomorph.
Mesomorph.
Yeah. So it's very few mesomorphs that we've probably met in our life, but they're lucky.
So basically, I know I've heard about ectomorph and endomorph.
Right.
In a way where your main focus is very much based around your stomach.
Right. Exactly.
It's crazy. So that's why you want to eat a lot, and that's why endomorphs have more of like a wider stomach.
Yeah. It's a larger area.
Yes, it's
so
larger area.
It's easy to fill up.
So your basically energy is like more condensed around here.
Right. Exactly.
And the ectomorph is more towards around the head.
Oh, that's interesting.
So yeah, basically you would have more anxiety and stuff like that.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I guess, and then the mesomorph would be like or the right balance between the both.
Right, just right in the middle, perfectly.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, and that's what I say. You know, not one thing is perfect for everyone.
Yes. Yeah. And that's we know exactly like either endomorph or mesomorph or ectomorph, right? We just like a certain percentage of one and the rest of it of the other, right?
Yeah.
Like you would be if you say like if you think you are like endomorph, you be thinking of like it's 70% of being endomorph.
Right.
And then the rest would be maybe the others.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like 100% one thing. Yeah. You know, everyone's kind of a mixture.
Yeah.
Because that's probably how genetics are as well too. You know, so.
So can we change? Like, can we like adapt? Change our body into becoming more of the other ones, or?
That's an amazing question, and I think it's absolutely possible.
Yeah.
Because I think a part of it comes down to like hacking your metabolism and your digestion and stuff.
Yeah.
So generally, unless I really try to speed it up, I would say I guess my metabolism is kind of slow.
Slow?
Yeah, a little bit on the slow. I hold on to food a lot longer, and you know, to really kind of get shredded takes a bit more effort for me. Right. I can bulk up like as easy as that, no problem.
Like cutting.
Yeah, but cutting is like, you know, the thing I always have to hyper focus on.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
it's the opposite for me.
Right. Okay. So you're probably leaning more ecto.
Ecto, yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool. You got two sides of the coin here.
Yeah.
So, do you find that you really have to work a bit harder to put on muscle?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And being slim is just easy for you.
It's reflected on my bone density.
Gotcha.
I think also. So this is how I was like, you know, born in my environment. Like led me to become more of a ectomorph. I think.
I see.
You know, a bit of anxiety around you going on. You know, as you grow up, and this is how you also like you are built in a way.
Right.
I think you can change that, and which I actually did. I did change to become someone who's more grounded and everything.
Right.
Working out, lifting, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking you that, because for me, I would think so. Yeah, you can change.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of like for your experience.
Right.
And I think you're doing that as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. You figure out like in your own journey what you need.
Yeah.
And I've, several times I've like gone in and out of like, strength training and push-ups, the calisthenics, the weightlifting and stuff like that. I've gone in and out of that. But my life really changed, and I changed when I started embracing the cardio side of things. When I became a runner was like a huge, light switch moment for me, for sure.
Yeah.
And, kind of skateboarding very aggressively later in high school. I was always a little bit doughy growing up. But then skateboarding was the first thing that kind of got me skinny for a little while. And then, after college and working a day job, I started getting a little doughy again. And then running marathons was like my next skinny boy adventure.
Yeah.
So, but that's the thing that like kind of always, for me, like being aware of what I needed, being mindful of calories and, staying steady on cardio in addition to strength training and all that stuff. Don't neglect that.
Sure.
But that's like what I need to like go to the middle, essentially. I'm trying to find equilibrium, I guess.
Yeah. So that's why you always need a bunch of cardio in your week, in your lifestyle.
Exactly.
Right.
I need extra.
Which for me is not really the case.
Right.
It does help. Even when you do a lot of cardio, I mean, you can cut fat a lot way quicker. I would just focus on trying to do like, you know, a lot of squats or
Yeah.
you know, strength training, or even like just calisthenics, and that kind of like shreds me out.
Right. That's so. Yeah, we're both trying to find that point right there.
Yeah.
So for you, it's a heavier emphasis on, you know,
Building
lifting and
muscles,
strength training and all that. And for me, it's being mindful, you know, just getting that cardio in.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
So, you know, find out what you guys are, what you think you are. You can please fill it in as a comment and tell us what you're going to do to find that middle point.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very important thing to know, I think, in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know, you got to know yourself. And like you said earlier, how your body reacts to food. Do you just like pass it all through like nothing? Or do you like kind of hold on to it a little longer?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's very important to pay attention to that, because in the end, you can be making a mistake so many times in a row that you can become very frustrated.
Sure.
And be like, okay, now I quit.
Yeah.
I've been doing cardio for 5 years and still overweight, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what am I doing wrong, you know?
Exactly.
Maybe that's not the right thing you should be doing. Maybe you should be just focusing on like doing deadlifts and squats, you know, more than anything else. Work on your core as well.
Yeah.
Because I think one very important thing is also to work on the fat that you have around your organs.
Yes.
Sometimes you think you can lose fat but still have a lot of fat in it, you know, inside you.
Yeah.
And that visceral fat is actually very important to focus on as well.
Of course,
not to just try to lose the visible,
the belly fat or whatever, the thigh, whatever it is, but all of it.
The visceral fat is one very important to focus on as well.
Right.
And that comes most of the time on your lifestyle, not necessarily on your exercise or anything like that.
Right.
But more on what you eat, when you eat.
Right.
And your sleep patterns, and also how you see yourself. That has an impact.
Yeah.
Your mindset, your mental, around that, which is very, very powerful to be able to work on too.
Right.
Because once you take control over that, everything else is actually easier.
Right. You've taken control of a very important, big thing.
And actually, sometimes I think it's harder even.
Oh, absolutely.
To be able to take control over your lifestyle, and your diet or your sleep, versus just go work out outside.
That's why it's a good first step. And you're absolutely right. Fat loss is not just you're not just going to lose it in one area of the body. You lose it in your whole body, everywhere. You know, so you have to, you know, it's like that's what it is when you check your body fat percentage. So
a lot of people still think that, oh, I got some belly fat, I'm just going to do abs.
Yeah, no, dude, you're gonna have some chiseled abs, but it's gonna be covered over layers and layers. Of belly fat.
And you want to be able to see them anyway.
Right.
You know, you gotta understand that your body, you the biggest muscles in the body are your quads.
Yeah, your leg muscles.
So that's why you need. That's gonna require so much energy.
Yeah.
So it's gonna burn so much fat to be able to work and develop itself. You know, it became bigger and bigger for you to work out more and more.
Yeah. You don't do leg workouts just to make your legs stronger or beefy looking or anything like that. It's the biggest muscles.
Yeah.
So it's going to have a huge impact on your entire body.
It's going to burn the entire fat of your body, basically.
Yeah. And I would add in as well that it's good to work legs and core for the sole purpose of posture.
Yeah.
Because I think posture plays a big role into it too. I've always slouched over quite a lot, and now being a little hunched over is very uncomfortable for me. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's a great, you know, and you feel better when you're sitting upright.
For real, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's just there's a better presence. Yeah. I remember, did you ever hear about Jordan Peterson talking about lobsters?
Yes. the hierarchy. Like,
the hierarchy of lobsters. And how they show it is in their posture.
This is so fascinating.
Yeah. So they'll actually like fight each other for dominance, just like any animal in their respective kingdom does.
Yep.
But you can tell when a lobster is weak, you know, or defeated.
Yeah.
In their
over.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, they've been humbled.
Yeah.
So so yeah, you gotta be a proud lobster.
Yeah, be a proud lobster. I love that thing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So
yeah, amazing. Great.
So you had a lot going on, a lot of fun. I mean, really impacting stuff, but also probably enjoyable as well.
Yes, a lot of things happened to me. Like in the past few days, got baptized, getting to deep in the kingdom of God. You know? And working a lot, playing a lot of drums for like churches, and coaching a lot of people. I get a few new people coming in now.
Good summer so far,
drums.
man.
Yeah, it's very fulfilling. It's been demanding a lot of work, and sometimes a little bit too much of like not sleeping enough.
Sure.
But it's sometimes it's something that I was expecting.
Yeah.
And it was under control, so I was aware that phase was gonna show up.
Yeah.
And because we always know that thing comes all at once.
Right. Right.
When it rains, it pours, right? So
it's almost like when you're sitting on a surfboard and you're in the water, you're like, oh, here's a big one. It's like a bunch of little ones. Oh gosh, here's a really big wave.
Talking about surfing, I went surfing yesterday evening, just as a relaxing activity of mine.
Right.
And yeah, this is exactly it. It stays calm, especially on these days where it's pour to fair in terms of swell, and the waves, and nothing shows up for 5 minutes, so you basically rest on your board.
Yeah.
And then you have a nice wave coming up, so you try to get it or whatever.
Right.
And another one.
Yeah.
And that's actually the announcement of a huge set.
Right, right, exactly.
And most of the time, the first wave, if you try to get them, you take them, or maybe not, and you can fail. So you're being pushed to the sand.
Right, right.
And this is when the big ones comes, and the bigger waves are form themselves way further away.
Yeah, so they're coming from.
So it's huge there. It's oh my god, no! Now I'm gonna paddle to the wave.
Yeah,
try to get
and then
down
turn around and then paddle.
And then you have sets, big waves coming out.
Right.
So that's exactly how it is.
Yeah, it's life.
Amazing. Yeah, it's a great representation of life.
Yeah.
So I was ready for that time. I knew it was gonna come up, and it hit me hard because of the lack of sleep.
Right.
But I was I know how to handle that.
Yeah.
And the most important thing to do to deal with this kind of stuff is to manage your environment.
Right.
Because your body can sustain living without rest, not much rest.
Yeah.
But your mental needs way more rest than what we think.
Yeah, your mind needs rest. Your body's chilling.
So you're gonna be more sensitive to everything, mentally, right?
Yeah.
So more reactive to everything. So you're gonna make sure your environment is safe.
A safe space.
A safe space.
And how do you? So let's just say you probably know when a lot of work or a big high amount of stressful stuff is coming up. Mm-hmm. How do you create that safe environment? Do you monitor what you allow your mind to see, reduce these crazy news on social media and stuff like that?
Exactly.
Be mindful of your intake.
Exactly. That's the most important thing, is to protect yourself ahead of everything. So basically, you can, watch news or whatever, or have friends, talking to you that are not resonating with your principle of life, in a daily, usual, daily life.
Yeah.
But when this moment happens, you gotta cut this off completely. Yeah. So nothing that distracts your mind. Nobody's gonna bring drama in your life, right?
Right.
So as soon as you can sense that coming in that time of hard work and everything like that, push this away.
Of course.
Boundaries right away. People texting you, calling you, whatever. Boundaries.
Yeah, you gotta set your boundaries exactly, and not invest too much into it, because you gotta know with these platforms that if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah.
They're gonna give you the heaviest, most intense news because that's gonna keep you watching.
Yeah.
And It's hard with watching the news, especially when a lot of there's like troubled times and there's some gnarly situations that arise, because not only are you like witnessing from your television or whatever that crazy situation, but you're also powerless over it. You know, you can't. What are you gonna do? Even if you watch it, it's like, what, are you gonna go out there and stop it?
Yeah, that's why
you know. So you
it
feel
makes
like
no sense to like get involved in being so aware of things.
I mean, you can virtue signal with like a post or a notification. I mean, hey, you know, everyone's got a right to do whatever you want to do, but you know, unless you can actually go out and change it, man, it's like you got to focus on your own world. Being very, very careful of what information you're loading your mind with, essentially, and probably being very easy on yourself.
Yeah, easy on yourself. Don't be distracted.
Yeah.
Distraction is gonna take you off focus.
Yeah.
And you're gonna feel overwhelmed, very quickly overwhelmed.
Right.
If you let this in the moment of extreme fatigue, I would say.
Yeah.
Right.
So, could I also ask regarding this with creating a good environment for, you know, stressful times and stuff? What do you think about dopamine? So you can get like, so some people, if they're under a lot of stress, they'll try and flood their mind with dopamine from whatever sources they can, food, entertainment, etc., etc. Do you try to, you know, limit your dopamine sources, or do you try to, like, you know, be easy on yourself and watch funny stuff? I mean, like, what's your mentality during your rest time?
I love this question. It's because it's so settled in a way. I think number one thing you gotta do, in my opinion, is to be aware of what's happening. And so, okay, now I'm exhausted, I need to rest, I'm taking time down.
Right.
I do feel like, oh, I want to have, you know, maybe fast food or like a lot of food, maybe. Watch something, you know, like a movie or like shows that, you know, can take my brain off and
exactly
put it inside. And then that's a natural reaction to everything, right?
Right.
Which I think is okay to do.
Yeah.
But try to like measure things. Be sensitive to how much like food you're gonna take. Be sensitive of how much distraction you're gonna dive in. So for instance, me, I have, and it's all of that is always the same thing. You need to prepare yourself for these moments.
Right.
You need to be ready for like, okay, when I'm gonna be exhausted, when I'm gonna go like in a very restful time, what am I gonna be doing?
Right.
Right, because I'm gonna be tempted to do these things and that and so on. You know, it can also lead to like, you know, if you're addicted to either the P word, right?
Yeah.
You can lean into that very easily when you fatigue.
Exactly. So, the naughty material.
You think ahead of these things.
Right.
Or maybe if you are someone who goes on dating apps.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna
binge.
Yeah, you're gonna like, you know, indulge in these things because this is dopamine reaction.
Yeah.
You need something that makes you feel good at this moment.
Exactly.
So hard. So bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, I would say like, be prepared for these moments.
Be aware.
And then when these moments arrive, just like be aware of how much you get into these things.
Absolutely. You know? I think that's such a solid answer, and that's, you know, for me, you know, a lot of my days are relatively busy, but for my downtime and relaxing time, I do like to watch entertaining, funny stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
That, you know, that's I know that it's my little dopamine burst. I treat, you know, things like that and, you know, little bits of food that I like as medicine. Just a little dose. Just a little, you know, think of it as a micro dose in that. You know, don't do the psychedelic drugs. Just microdose things that make dopamine happen in your brain. So I love, I talked about it on the last podcast, police body camera footage to me is just outrageous because of the entitlement of some of these, teenagers and 20-year-olds, that some of them are belligerent drunk, some of them are shoplifting huge, enormous amounts of things, and they like act like they don't, they're not in the wrong. And it's just so great to see like hordes of police officers, take them down and put them in their place and stuff. So that's always hilarious to me. And then, a little bit of some food that I like and what have you. But I'm very mindful of how much I watch and how much I eat. And get that rest after. Don't be watching stuff late at night. When it's time to go to bed.
Well, there's an impact and like an influence on your brain for whatever you do before bed, especially.
Right.
If you watch, and for me too, it's like how I would prevent that moment. I would be like, I'm not gonna watch something that's very negative.
Right.
Like I never watch any drama movies anymore. I'm like, to me, it's just brings drama to your life.
Yeah, exactly.
My mantra is, we are what we focus on.
I love that.
So whatever you put in your mind, whatever you are watching, listening to, or whatever do, is what you become.
That's exactly right.
Because it comes into your life, and then you become part of that thing.
Right.
So basically, I never watch drama movies.
Nah.
I do watch sometimes with like action.
Yeah, sure.
It's very, and most of the time, what happens? It's crazy. Nowadays, I never finished watching a movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could never.
Half of it, and then I'm like, I get bored. Dude.
Yeah, if there's a documentary, I have to break it up into 15-minute increments and keep coming back to it. And it's like that with everything for me now. Maybe that's just a character flaw on my end where I just can't sit still. But at the same time, I don't really want to sit still and just watch something.
Same. At some point, like, I gotta do, I don't know. It's just
like, oh yeah, I gotta do this. Oh yeah, I gotta get ready for this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I gotta shower and brush my teeth.
Yeah.
So.
But that leads me to the final point about self-development.
Yeah.
Where how do you position yourself in your life? So there are like 3 positioning of yourself in your life, I would say.
Right.
The first one is called like to me.
Okay.
The second one is called by me.
Right.
And the third one is called through me.
Through me. Ah.
So every positioning or every action you're gonna take in your life gonna be a reaction to your positioning, I would say.
Right. Okay.
So basically, when you say like, if you live your life like by the to me, a
victim kind of
exactly mentality. So everything happens to you,
right?
So that's your mindset you're gonna live your life through.
Yeah.
So everything happens to you. You are expecting to be saved.
Yeah.
Without taking any actions, you expect something to happen to you to change.
Right.
So
you're not in control of your own destiny.
You have zero control on anything. Most of the time when you live in this state, it's very egotistical place to live in.
Yeah.
Because you live and you think you're the center of the world.
Right.
Like everything around you is outside of you, and that's just like, it goes and evolved around you, and you are the center.
You are the center.
So anything that happens, even though it's not related to you at all, you think it happens because of you or towards you.
It's like, oh, poor me. Oh, why did I do that? Why is it happening to me?
And that's how you get so easily offended too.
Right.
Because you think that someone telling you something is going to say that thing against you.
Yeah, it's personal.
Exactly.
It's like an attack.
Take everything personal.
Yeah.
So that's the one state,
to me,
a lot of people live in.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Especially when you go through social medias, you react very easily, and you are offended by what people think or say,
Yeah.
The second state, which is by me, is I think what I call the fighter state.
Right.
So this is when you want to take actions. So you take actions, you think you gotta do things by your own terms.
Right.
So you're not the victim anymore. You take actions, but you're alone by yourself.
I see.
Right. So you still live in this very detached mode, like where the separation mode,
right,
where you see something, you want something, you want to get it, you have desire,
right,
and you think this is just you by yourself, and you're just gonna go get it.
right.
So
It's
most of the time,
on you,
it's triggered by anger, and you feel very
or
angry about
revenge,
something,
kind of this
and you want, yeah, exactly, you want to,
redemption.
exactly, you want to
Yeah.
go get it, and by yourself, so you have a lot of resistance. So you go
Yeah,
through so much resistance,
yeah,
and the more resistance you go through, the more you think there is resistance.
right. It's almost like this enemy you have to kill or something
Yeah,
like that.
and that can be dangerous because it can lead you back to a to me state where you think, why is, oh, I'm doing so much, I'm going so hard on everything, but
Yeah,
then the world is resisting me. So why, why me again? You can
yeah,
lean back to that, towards that thing once again. But so it's still a bit better than to me because you do
right.
things
Because
and
you're now proactive, taking actions.
exactly, and you can still succeed that way.
Right,
It's
right.
gonna just be like pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like,
and a lot of people
very, very
get in that mindset. I mean, I guess maybe some successful people get in that way too because they maybe didn't start off so great. So it's like, okay, now I'm going to show the world. I'm going to reinvent myself, and here we are. I'm going to change it all.
Yeah.
You know.
I've went through that phase.
Right,
100%.
right.
I spent a lot of years to that phase of being like, well, you know what? You don't believe in me. I'm going to show you.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. The haters.
Yeah.
Don't.
So, but then when comes the through me state,
right,
where life happens through you.
Right.
So basically, you are taking actions not by yourself, but through God,
Mm-hmm.
and you let God working through you.
Yep.
For you to take the right inspired actions that make sense for yourself and for the rest of the world, of the universe and God.
Right, right.
And this is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this more and more. I feel for a few years I've been doing this, but now I really dive into that thing.
Yeah.
And because I'm still sometimes in a by me mode.
Mm-hmm.
So catch myself and bring myself back to a through me mode.
Right.
Where I'm gonna be thinking of okay, what's around me right now, and what's the energy like around me right now.
Right.
And what makes the most sense for me to do right now.
You're not a target with the at me. What was the first one? To me.
To me, yeah.
You're not like on this mission where you're, blocking everything off with the by me.
Yeah.
You're just aware and you're present.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, okay, what's the best course of action?
Yes. So basically, you take actions based on an inspiration.
Right.
And so for that, you need to be rested, not stressed at all.
Yeah.
Right. Not afraid.
Right.
You need to feel pretty good about yourself in your situations. You gotta make peace with everything.
Right.
Peace with everybody around you, and peace with where you're at.
Right.
So you gotta be okay with where you're at on your journey. Sit down and be like, okay, what's the best action can I take for me to get something?
Right.
Whatever I want.
It takes a lot of humility to get there.
So much.
You got to be completely honest with yourself.
Yeah. And that in that state, this is when you have ideas, when you have creativity coming through.
Right.
And these ideas and creativities are the foundation of your actions you're going to take.
Right.
So don't take any actions before being in that state of, being receptive to that thing.
So, could I say, just tell me if you agree with this. Two things that are going to help you with through me is knowing what you want, having that visualization of where you want to be, and then having faith.
Yeah.
So you're going to do stuff to get there, but it's not only you by yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to have, God, you're going to have community, you're going to have all of the aid of the universe, conspiring to get there with you.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you could still have what you want, have this vision of what you want, but, you have to be adaptable to, you got to know where you presently are and be adaptable for any life changes that come up and stuff. Just be very focused on it, on all of it around you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be aware of what's happening around you. Yeah. And you lead yourself into a flow of things.
Right.
That in the end makes so much sense.
Yeah.
You're gonna get things that you're allowed to get.
Right.
You won't get things that you're not ready to get.
Yeah.
Because if you get these things, you're gonna be overwhelmed, stressed, and it's not gonna be in line with your frequency and vibration.
Right. Right.
And it's gonna disrupt you. Even though you think that's a great thing. If I give a homeless person $1 million,
yeah,
something pretty bad might happen to him.
Right, exactly. It might actually be detrimental to him.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. So that's the reason why so many people think they want to have money.
Yeah.
Actually, what you want is peace and freedom.
Yeah, you want freedom, exactly.
So
you want your
focus on that, and you'll be taking actions that makes bring that to your life.
Yeah, I think what can help with a bit of clarity. Let me just see if I'm making sure I understand all of this. Yeah. So, to me, is kind of a very heavy focus on yourself.
Yeah.
And you being the center. What's happening to me.
Yeah.
And then by me is a huge focus on, solely on what you want.
Yeah.
Right in that moment, and I'm gonna get there.
Yeah.
And then through me is a focus on everything.
On you and everything.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's basically the collapse between you and the rest of the world.
Right.
So there's no separation.
Yeah.
So you understand how to work with yourself. You understand that what's inside you is the outside as well.
Yeah.
And
it's all mirrors.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to learn how to have these things. And we grow up with this education and society rules, societal rules where we put so much separation. Whether you're gonna be blaming the world,
right,
or you're gonna be like, okay, I need to take action. I need to be my own hero, and nobody else gonna
Yeah.
It's very both of them are very selfish.
Yeah, yeah, they're both not in the right.
Not in a healthy way. You gotta be selfish in a way where you understand how to work with everything else around you.
Yeah.
So it's being selfish by doing it's. I think what we call selfish can have two connotations. One of them is destructive.
Yeah.
And the other one is based on self-love.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you do something that makes sense for you, that brings peace to you, it's the right kind of selfish.
And you need that kind of self-love, because how else are you going to help anyone else if you don't have enough? You can't be. Yeah, and I mean, I think there's some people out there that focus so much on helping others that they neglect all of their own needs, and that's not good. Thinking with a video gamer mindset here for a moment, there's games where there's obviously an objective. It's like, okay, you do this final thing, you beat this final boss or whatever it is, you beat the game and the game's over. But there's, besides that one sole mission, there's all different kinds of things you could do to help other things and complete other things.
Yeah.
So it's just like this present mindedness, and just 100%ing the game essentially by just doing all the missions, helping out whenever you can, whatever's gonna allow whatever opportunities present themselves to be brilliant, to do good for yourself and for others. So be a completionist in life.
Yeah, that's a good. It's actually a very good analogy for everything. You can see life as a game.
Yeah.
It takes a bit of a seriousness about it.
Right.
And think yourself as a player.
Look out for side quests.
Yeah, side quests. You got to take care of yourself to be able to move forward.
Right.
And yeah,
and you'll know that if you don't do these side quests and stuff, it's like, oh, I could have gone back and seen this little thing and done this thing. You know, it's like you've missed stuff. You've missed opportunities.
Yep.
You know, so sure, you can beat the game without doing any side quests or mini games, whatever. But it's far more entertaining and far more fulfilling.
Yes.
You know, if you do all of it.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I want to just get back to what you said about like being selfish or self-love.
Yeah.
Something that I really ponder about is we tell ourselves like you cannot love someone without you loving yourself.
Right.
So you need to love yourself first to be able to love someone.
Absolutely.
Right. So think about hate.
Yeah, that's I love that. That's the best.
So
because you can't hate other people without first
hating yourself.
Hating yourself. That's right. If you're pointing a finger at someone, if you're pointing one finger at someone, you're pointing 3 fingers at yourself.
Yeah.
You ever hear that?
That's so good.
Yep. So no, but yeah, that's absolutely spot on.
That leads us to like, yeah, when you live through me, a through me state,
yeah,
that means you're aware of that, and you don't feel a separation between others and you.
Right.
Right.
You're part of it collectively.
Part of it, yeah.
Yeah, you're in the environment.
Whoever you don't like, that means you don't like a part of yourself.
That's right. You better figure out, you know, how you can just stay neutral on that. It's like, yeah, okay, some people are gonna appear quirky or arrogant or whatever adjective you want to fill in there in some way. So how are you going to react to it?
Yeah.
You know, you're going to stay mad at them because they have character flaws. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, are you perfect? You know? Yeah. So whatever, just, you know, roll with it, man. Be sweet about it.
I think that's going to be the title of this episode. Are you perfect?
Are you perfect? So okay, didn't think so. You know, exactly. So that's it. And I think asking that question will bring you to the art. You know, the through you mentality.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty spot on, man. That's cool.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's a lot of it.
Yeah. So good.
So good.
Well, we covered a lot just now.
Dude, a lot.
Yeah, so that was amazing.
We might have to come back on this kind of some points of it, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
In future episodes, but
yeah, it's all a lot of information that we jam packed just now. So we can dive deep into any one of these topics.
Yeah.
So figure out if you're ecto. Try some peppermint tea.
Yeah.
Count your calories
if you need to. And then think about how do you position yourself with the world, in the world.
Exactly, yeah. Take care of your body, take care of your mind. Above all, get rest when you can.
Yeah.
Be mindful of your dopamine, you know, your pleasures and stuff. You know, be easy on yourself, but don't overflow. You know, find balance in everything.
Yeah.
And
these are great points, man.
It's good, man. I'm gonna watch this episode a few times.
I hope you too.
So, yeah, thank you all so much for watching.
Yeah,
we hope to see you in the next video
next week, and then don't forget to subscribe and like the video. That's gonna help us out a lot.
Helps us a lot.
See you guys soon for the next one.
Yep. Take care, you guys. Have a good one.
Peace out. Boom.